Welcome back. It's been 2 years since South Africa went into hard lockdown. One of the many industries hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic is the alcohol industry. It faced various forms of restrictions during the different levels of lockdown, with the sale of alcohol even banned at times. Let's unpack this further with the National Liquor Traders Association's Lucky Ntimane. Mr. Ntimane, I remember so vividly speaking to you on many occasions during the past 2 years, often directly after an announcement by President Cyril Ramaphosa of another level of lockdown, the re-banning of alcohol or the opening of the industry. But 2 years on, how is the alcohol industry faring, do you think?
Good evening, Anli, and thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, we'd like to take this opportunity to send our heartfelt condolences to the lives that have been lost. You know, in the past 2 years due to coronavirus, the numbers almost are close to 100,000. And these are not just numbers, but these are family members. These are brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, husbands, grandfathers, grandmothers. So we take to heart the good work that has also been done by the medical fraternity to ensure that as a country, we are able to manage COVID-19. But certainly as a liquor industry, we have really suffered due to the bans on alcohol that has been instituted in the past 2 years. Just to give you some perspective, almost 1.3 billion liters have been lost in the process, which amounts to about 43 billion rand. So those are the losses that we had to endure in the past 2 years out of the 26 weeks non-trading period that we had to overcome. But, you know, we are seeing some signs of recovery, albeit in competition with the illicit market, which is now worth 20 billion rand a year in South Africa.
Lucky, we spoke quite often about the impact of the ban on the sale of alcohol, specifically in terms of job losses. What have you seen so far?
So if you look at the tavern sector, we employ about 250,000 people. And if you look at the total alcohol industry and its value chain, the numbers amount to about 1 million. So what we saw during the lockdowns is that these numbers were impacted heavily because people could not be kept in jobs, you know, whereas the doors were shut and there was no income. So we suspect that almost half of the jobs in the alcohol industry were at risk at some point, one way or another. And the recovery that we're seeing only came from September last year when the restrictions were eased. So almost 18 months worth of trading that could have supported almost 1.250 jobs million were at risk. And this is a significant number because these people are primary breadwinners and they rely on the alcohol industry to support their families. This has been the hardest for us to accept, given the fact that government refused to give us support. We are 2 years now commemorating COVID-19 in South Africa, but yet we are yet to receive any support whatsoever from government, and we are not even yet had been given opportunity to even engage with government whatsoever to find solution in terms of managing the pandemic in the alcohol sector.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, throughout the pandemic, the government repeatedly said that they had to make very difficult choices and that unfortunately the choice to ban the sale of liquor or to restrict the liquor industry was in order to save lives. Have they not come to the party at all to balance the scales?
We have seen the disdain in which the government, most certainly the president, has continued to treat the alcohol industry. Even in the past few weeks, just if you look at KZN, for example, the provincial government there have extended an olive branch of about 10 million rand to support small black-owned businesses, but liquor traders are being excluded from that. The Gauteng government, through the MEC for Economic Development, Pakstawu, also announced, a bill to support small businesses, and yet again, liquor traders are being excluded. So it seems we only matter in only our contribution to the economy, but in terms of us being genuine business people that should be supported, government continues to ignore us. I mean, if you look at the minister in charge of the alcohol industry, which is the economic development, Ibrahim Patel, he has yet to meet with the industry in the past 2 years. So it seems that, government doesn't really treat us with the respect that we deserve. We continue to be treated as second-class citizens who do not deserve any support whatsoever from government. For us to commemorate the COVID-19, the 2 years, it means that we are actually having to think hard and have to almost remember the scars that have been caused by the decision taken by government to almost leave us to find ways to support our own families without government support whatsoever. And we are hoping that should there be any other way, God forbid, that government will come to the party and talk to us so that we can find solutions to protect lives, but also livelihoods, because It doesn't help to survive COVID, but yet you have to die out of poverty. As we know, there's no vaccine for poverty.
Lucky, so despite a lack of support from government, you said earlier that there have been some signs of recovery in the industry. Talk to us about that.
So we have seen some sign of recovery from the industry, especially the retail sector as well as the tavern sector. But the challenge remains as well, because we now have a problem with regards to the supply issues that are a direct result of alcohol bans. Our manufacturers are not able to fully fulfill the deliveries that are born out of the orders that we are making to them. And that means that if you order 10 cases of a particular brand, you'll only be able to get maybe 2 cases or so. So we are not able to fully cover in terms of the revenues that are needed to sustain our sector. But also, if you look at the glass shortage that we're to encounter, which almost amounts to about 100,000 tons, it means that we are not fully able to operate at the efficiencies that we saw pre-2020. So we continue to suffer, but we cannot keep on complaining. We have to make do with what we have. And we appreciate that we are now able to sell alcohol and having to be forced to restrict how we operate, and also the trading hours are as per the license regulations. So we appreciate that. But we are saying to government, let us work together to make sure that in future we are able to come with solutions that are able to protect the industry and save lives and livelihoods. Banning alcohol or restricting alcohol in the future should not be a strategy that government should adopt. In fact, we view it as a blunt object that government has used over and over again, but without any good result to show for it.
Well, thank you very much again for speaking to us. That was Lucky Ntimane from the National Liquor Traders Association.